Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be across this beautiful blue-green globe of ours. Welcome to Real News Live. It is a Toxically Masculine Tuesday. I'm your host, Mike Bara, in Las Vegas, Nevada, joined, as I usually am, on Tuesday nights by the usual crew, starting with the man not beneath me, but immediately below me on the screen, from Nashville, Tennessee, the owner of the Lickety Split, the finest gentleman's establishment in Nashville, Tennessee. TV's Blake Wally, intrepid Cub reporter. Blake, how you doing? How do you feel about your Vikings? They won.
Well, doing well. It's great to be here. It's Nashville. It's a little cold, but it's finest strip club, dance floor.
That's right.
Good.
That's right. And I went to Nashville recently, back in October, and hung out with Blake and Tom Reed, my buddy Tom Reed. And let me tell you, I've been all over Nashville, and there are lots of clubs of all kinds. And Blake's is the finest. So when you get there, look up the Lickety Split, drop by, say hi to Blake, and Blake will entertain you with some of the girls, will you not, Blake?
Yeah, if you guys are fans of the show, I will certainly get you set up for sure. So.
Of course, that's all fiction, folks. We're making that all up.
That's
all right,
true.
the man directly next to Blake down below there from nowhere, Fuckville, Arkansas, former number 2 security guard at chief of security at Los Alamos National Laboratory, former frequent guest on the O'Reilly Factor on Fox News, all-around stud, the trail boss, veteran, patriot, future mayor, sheriff, something of Lizard County, Arkansas, and nowhere Fuckville, Arkansas. Steve Doran, the trail boss. Steve, how are you doing? And have you been icing your balls to increase your testosterone?
I need to. As you know, I need to decrease my testosterone, not increase it.
That's true. That's true. I think you would be putting on so much testosterone that you would actually be setting off radiological detectors. Every so often, I'll see the radiological plane, the plane that looks for dirty nukes, flying over Arkansas, flying over Steve's house, and it's just because his nards are setting off all the alarms. Speaking of masculine and testosterone, directly above him, immediately to my stage, left, right, I don't know. Dr. Brooks Agnew in the new digs once again in North Carolina. Brooks, sorry about your Panthers. My Seahawks kicked the crap out of them this weekend.
Yes, they did. They did.
But how's life in North Carolina, and how you liking the new house that's custom made?
Oh,
to your
I love
standards?
the new house. It's fantastic. It's spacious. It's well designed. My electric fireplace is keeping the place warm. Starry skies at night. It's beautiful, and I enjoy it so much. I'm drinking Perrier tonight, just staying a little bit healthy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot to ask. I'm just drinking water. What's everybody else drinking? Blake is drinking Larceny.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, Blake.
It's actually a very good whiskey, like a good bang for the buck. And
I've heard that.
Second bottle, so it's definitely worth the extra money. And it's under like $30, so highly recommended.
Cool, very cool. Okay, let me do one that I forgot to do. I forgot to set the monetization on.
Hey, thanks, Steph.
Hang on, none of the above. Submit, and I may as well. It's pointless to turn the monetization on this show because they hit us with copyright every time. But what the hell? Why All right. Deb, thank you. And thank you guys. Happy New Year from Lee Harris for $5. Thank you very much. And don't forget, you can like and subscribe on Rumble. You can like and subscribe on YouTube. And you can Rumble rant on Rumble and Super Chat on YouTube if you like the show. So we appreciate that. And it helps me buy gift cards for the boys on the show. So that's a good thing. All right, guys, there are multitudes of things to talk to. We missed the show last week. I wasn't feeling like it, but this is the last show of 2025. I don't know how many of these we've done. I don't think we've done 52, but we've done quite a few. So
yeah, last 2025 blew by so fast.
Because the gay guy always calls off. The other three are always available. It's that one that, like,
Steven, I've been called many things in my life, but gay is not one.
Well, I was listening to Shatner the other day, and he was singing this song, "Keep It Gay, Keep It Gay, Keep It Gay," and all I could think of was you while he was singing.
Fuck you. All right. It actually has been, in spite of the fact that all of us are complaining, there's a lot of things we're not happy about. It's actually been a pretty good year. Clay Travis went on to Fox News the other day, and he kind of listed through the things that are actually positive right now. So let's talk about those things and listen to Clay for a little bit as he goes through the litany of lists and of stuff.
Now let's bring in Outkick.com founder Clay Travis. Great to see you this evening, Clay. It's really interesting to look at these images today out of Mar-a-Lago and think about the previous administration. You had Joe Biden, who is probably the most experienced and qualified foreign policy expert diplomat that has ever been invented by Washington, D.C. And he might screw up everything he touched in the world, including allowing 2 new wars to start and handing massive swaths of countryside where we lost our own blood and treasure for 10 years, over 20 years, over to the Taliban. What is it about President Trump that allows him to be so brilliant at this game where the greatest expert was such a monstrous failure?
Because ultimately Trump understands that getting peace is about making deals and building coalitions. And I was struck when you showed the clip earlier, Charlie, on the show where Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff were even praised a bit by MSNBC. It's because Trump not only is a builder and a deal maker, he's enabling builders and deal makers to get deals done. And that's why Happy New Year, Merry Christmas to everybody out there. I really legitimately feel like, Charlie, we are seeing the greatest first-year presidency in any of our lives. I mean, when you consider the number of peace deals that Trump has brought around the world, we're getting closer and closer in Ukraine. The president of Netanyahu just came and gave Trump the first award in 80 years to a non-Israeli. Remember, for 10 years, we've heard Trump was Hitler. If you look at the growth rate, 4.3%. If you look at inflation, 2.7%. All-time record highs in the stock market. Nobody's even talking about this. Murders are going to decline 20% this year. Trump has saved thousands of lives of Americans, and the economy, the border is completely shut down. I just don't think we're getting enough recognition for what has been accomplished. And when I saw both of these with Netanyahu and with Zelensky, it just further epitomizes Trump's incredible first year, 2.0.
Okay, so I think that's fair enough. The economy grew at 4.3% in the third quarter. That is astonishing. That is boom time. Anything above 3% is boom time. Jobs are lagging a little bit behind, but that's because we're deporting hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens that were holding those jobs. Democrats and rhinos like Mona Sharon. By the way, Mona, you're a cunt. Mona Sharon complain. Oh, the jobs numbers are down. We lost all these manufacturing jobs. We didn't lose manufacturing jobs. What happened was the people that were working them for slave wages got deported. That's what happened. They're gone. Government employees who were doing literally nothing got deported. So 4.3% growth. If that keeps up, we're gonna be creating 250,000 jobs a month like it's nothing by the middle of next year. There are some peace agreements, or at least the outlines of peace agreements, starting to form in Ukraine and in Gaza and all over the world. Venezuela, we just struck Venezuela for the first time on land. I think that situation, there's a lot of pressure there. The Iranian regime, one of the worst, the Muslim regime, the Islamic Republic, is on the brink of collapse. They can't even get their people water. I mean, if you think about it, if there's peace in Ukraine, if there's Venezuela situation is resolved in the next 6 months, I don't know that I think Clay Travis is wrong. And the 20% reduction in murder, again, that is a function of the deportation of more than 1 million. We'd like it to be more, but more than 1 million illegal aliens. And we're hunting them down like the dogs that they are and kicking them the fuck out of their country. Brooks, is Clay right? I mean, are things a lot better than we're giving Donald Trump credit for?
Yeah, it is. By the way, this is not Trump's first year. This is his 9th year as president. He served 4 years as a wartime president in exile, putting his cabinet together, making all these deals, putting all these arrangements together. And when he got the handles of power back in his hands, he immediately took action, and that's why everything is moving so fast in the first year. Yeah. This is not put together in the last 12 months. This is put together in the last 5 years.
Yep. Look, let's go to the group cynic now and talk to, well, I don't know what happened to Steve Doran, so we'll jump over quickly to Blake Wally. Blake, when you look at it like that from the basics, it's like lowering murder rate, economic growth, job growth, is always a late tracking thing. And the other thing is, look, the big, beautiful bill hasn't even kicked in yet. That's a big tax cut. We'll talk about that in a second, a little bit more. And tax cuts always trail by about 18 months from the time that they're passed, because you have to get through to the next tax season to really see the benefits. And then it takes 6 months after that for the extra liquidity to filter through the economy. Are we giving Trump too hard a time because we're not getting some of the things that we wanted to get?
I mean, he's open for criticism on certain things. It's a mixed bag, but I'm super thankful that he's there. I'll take him over Kamala and Tim Walz. What a disaster that would have been, and it could have been so much worse. So I guess we'll take that. We'll look at the positives here. Without complaining too much, I'd like to believe that something will be done, hopefully serving some justice finally, maybe in 2026. So 2025, it started really well, and there's been some progress. There's some hope, but there's also been a lot of problems. Like with Ukraine and Israel, our relationship with some of this, a lot of things have not changed. But at least, the borders shut down, and we're trying to do something about the illegal immigrant invasion that we had during the Biden administration. I don't know about the economy yet, because that's also another mixed bag. We're also we have way too much debt, and I'm not sure although that things seem to be accelerating with like the prices of gold and silver, precious metals versus the dollar. It's hard to say, are the metals going up or is the dollar going down? So we still have a major issue there to correct, whether that's getting rid of the Federal Reserve, IRS. These are speculative, but at least, again, it's so much better with Trump than without Kamala and just the global syndicate running everything, although we still have our concerns here with Trump.
Yeah, and I mean, there are states that are trying to. Trump has no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. These things are in the big beautiful bill. There are states that are trying to impose extra taxes on people that make tips and people that work overtime. I mean, and there are actually people out there that are predicting the Democrats are going to win the midterms. First of all, they're polling at 20%, and Trump gives tax breaks to working people and the Democrats take them away, and you think that's a winning strategy. These people are insane. Steve, are we overreacting to the good news, or is
Well,
there more good
I
news to come?
I mean, I don't know what you want to, say overreacting is, but I'm glad that he's in the White House versus Kamala and Waltz. I mean, anybody who would want them in instead of him is an absolute moron. But I'm extremely disgusted as an ex-federal investigator that, the elite, these congressmen, senators, people in DC, people around the country are walking free when they have clearly, and there's evidence that they have stolen from the United States citizens, and they still sit in their office. They're still doing what they're doing. And I find that absolutely ridiculous. He has the power to change that. And I've had people say, oh, you're a fair weather patriot. You're this, you're that. Bullshit. I've been there. I know what they can do. I know how quickly it can move forward. And they have done nothing. The evidence is clear. Even that Ilhan Omar, however you pronounce her name, there's no reason for her to be sitting in office right now based on the crimes that she's committed. And I'm so sick and tired of the excuses why the elites are being let go.
Yeah,
so if you're gonna govern this country, you've got to serve justice and you've got to govern it fairly. And that means putting these rat bastard elites under the prison or hanging them from the highest tree. I'm sick of hearing the excuses. I'm sick of the Trump excuse makers. Oh, well, he just doesn't have time and he's focusing on this. Well, screw these other countries that he's dealing with. Our country is number one. Our country needs to have his full attention. Screw these other people. Let them blow each other up. I could give a shit. Put your focus on this country. Put your focus on putting these criminals and these people who are against the American people away for the rest of their life.
Yeah, and I mean
that should be his number one focus. The American people. Screw the Ukraine. Screw the Middle East. I don't care about them. Screw Venezuela. I want his focus number one to be on the American people.
Venezuela is really important too, though, because not only because of the oil and
we can take them over in a matter of 12 hours.
Well, yeah, but there's the after part, the after party. You've got to deal. Well, the thing is,
we don't have to we don't have to rebuild other countries when they're a threat to us and we take them out.
Right.
That's just something the bullshit Democrats started. You screw with us, we take you out, rebuild your damn self. We don't have to rebuild anything.
What I'm saying is Venezuela is in our hemisphere. It is the root, as we've talked about on this show, of the massive worldwide election fraud that has stolen elections in Canada, in Ireland, in France, in Spain.
Putting an embargo around them putting an embargo around them and blowing up some drug boats stops that? No, it doesn't.
No, you do need, but I'm saying we do have a strategic interest overseas. If you call South America overseas in those regions, I agree. Fuck Israel and fuck the Arabs and fuck Ukraine and let Russia have the whole
Venezuela,
thing. I'll tell you what, the Ukrainian
people wipe out the government and be done with it.
Right.
Be done with it. What's all this cat and mouse BS?
Brooks.
It's like if they committed crimes against the people of the United States of America, go in, do what you got to do, and get out. Quit playing.
Yep.
Society goes through a 4-step cycle over and over and over again. It goes through mercy, peace, justice, war. Mercy, peace, justice, war. And right now we're in the justice phase, and Steve is absolutely correct. If we do not see justice, and I mean justice in Minnesota, Ohio, Maine, we don't see justice in DC, there will be war. It'll happen right inside our own country, right under our own noses. And the American people are fucking pissed off. Look at Nick Shirley. Look at these citizen journalists who are uncovering this fraud. Look at Doge. Doge uncovered everything. And what happened? What happened? Everybody in the Senate and Congress stood around and masturbated and raised money and did nothing. And that's what Steve's talking about, and I back him up 100%.
All right. So let's get a consensus and move on to the next question. are things better than we think they are, or than we complain a lot? Are things really better than we think they are? Are we not giving it enough credit for the progress that's been made, or is it just not good enough? And we need to move faster, Brooks, which is the answer to that one.
I'm optimistic, of course, because I think 2026 is going to be an absolute blowout compared to 2025. But if you don't take care of the bad guys, you don't put Brennan in prison, you don't start taking out these people that have stolen billions of dollars from the American taxpayer. It's not just me. Everybody loses faith in government. Everyone. And that's when the whole thing falls apart.
So you think the progress is not good enough. Steve, what do you think?
Well, again, the focus should be on our country. I mean, why did he not restart the building of the wall? They say no immigrants have come into this country. They don't know that. That's total
I think the border.
bullshit.
It sounds to me like the border's pretty much closed. Like they've got it nailed down.
Mike, have you ever been on the border? They're full of shit. If there's no wall to stop these people, they're still coming in. Sorry to tell you that. They're coming in through Canada. They're coming in through Mexico. Those stats are freaking a lie. There is no way that they know that 0 people are coming in without that wall.
And it costs $10 million a day. $10 million a day to have those servicemen down there on that border.
So here's the difference. Biden let these people in.
I guarantee you, I can go to Mexico in my screwed up state and get back across the border, and they won't know.
Biden let these people in and gave them benefits and let them into the country. Trump is not letting them in. He is not giving them benefits. In fact, he's saying, we are hiring ICE to hunt you down. And you can't tell me that border crossings are not down at least 90% over what they were a year ago.
I'm not saying they're not down, but just saying that 0 people are coming across the border is bullshit.
Well, that's possible.
And secondly, so all these illegals have been given benefits. Why are they not 100% completely stopped? They can do it. They can go on the computer. Everybody who's not an American citizen, boom, cut them off.
Well,
why aren't they doing that?
It should be done.
We're going to feed them. We're going to take care of them. We're going to give them medical. We're going to give them money. We're going to pay their rent until they're caught and deported. Does that make sense to you?
No,
it makes sense to me.
It doesn't. And it does seem like more action should be taken, but that's up to Pam Blondie. And Pam Blondie appears to be the problem. Like you said,
no. Pam Blondie has nothing to do with the illegals receiving payments. She has nothing to do with them getting checks and rent assistance and all that. She has nothing to do with any of that. They could cut that off tomorrow.
Prosecuting the corruption. She absolutely does.
She does.
Well, I think the USDA did take action.
We're not talking about prosecution. We're talking about we are still paying illegals medical. We are still paying their food bills. We are still paying their rent. It doesn't make any sense. Cut them off immediately.
I agree.
You know what? If you go to prison, okay, I don't know if you get Social Security or not, Mike. If you go to prison, if you commit a crime, your Social Security is freaking gone the day you're convicted. Not the day after, not the day before, the day you're convicted. But illegals continue to get their money. Why is that? Tell me, why an American citizen, why do they stomp on you like a greasy bug and let these illegals go?
Because I'm an American and they hate Americans. That's why.
That's exactly right.
TV's Blake Wally. Are things better now than we give them credit for, or are they as bad as Steve Doran says they are?
Maybe somewhere in between, but this is going to be a huge year, 2026, setting this all up. Because I'm very disappointed. The FBI has been in Cash Patel, Dan Bongino. Nothing's been done. And they pulled all that BS with the Epstein stuff. There's a lot of issues I have. So if Trump doesn't go after Walz and the Democrats for what they've done and open it all up, because they're using these people, illegal immigrants, or the legal immigrants, the Somalians, as a voting block, and they're clearly involved with fraud on so many election fraud, taxpayer fraud on the healthcare, everything. So if he doesn't do anything on that and then open it up to Ohio and California and all these other spots, then I think the Democrats are going to be pretty strong in 2026. Because the other thing is, I'm very concerned about the Republicans being divided going into the next election, into the midterms. So I don't know how you're going to get MAGA, the base, together, because they're completely divided on America first versus what we see with Bibi Netanyahu visiting Mar-a-Lago today and seeming to be ordering us to go, whether it's into Iran or Venezuela. He's clearly a bad actor on the stage, and I don't like our relationship with that. I just want to stay out of all of that stuff. And I agree with you, Mike. Forget Israel and the Arabs, Ukraine, all of that stuff. If we don't focus on our own country, start lowering the debt or do something, then I'm going to lose hope for everything going forward.
Yeah. Well, again, I've told you before, at least I've argued that, pay off the national debt, you mint a 0.99999 pure silver or gold coin in the denomination of $36 trillion. Take it to the Federal Reserve window and the paper debt is gone. I don't worry about the debt. I don't think it holds the economy back. The economy grows regardless of the debt. I'm just kind of an economic maverick. I think with lower taxes this year, I do think we're ready for a boom. And it would also help if we had a lot of liquidity suddenly pumped in.
And we also know that 70% of that debt is fraud.
Yeah. And that's the other thing that we're going to get to now, because a young man named Nick Shirley, who just took it into his own hands, he went through the list. There's this list of Somali child care centers in Minnesota, probably the most corrupt state in the United States. My former state, Blake's former state, run by this faggot, Tim Walz. And he went around, well, let's call him what he is. He just went around and asked a few questions, and he exposed massive amounts of fraud in Minnesota.
Here in Minnesota, massive fraud is taking place within the government and the Somali population. Here, this building alone, Quality Learning Center, is a daycare, yet they spelled learning wrong, and they said leering. This daycare alone in 2025 has received $1.9 million from the government. And the strange things about these childcare centers is there's no one here right now. It's midday on a weekday. If you were to try to go inside, it's completely closed and the windows are all blacked out. No one's working. Midday, children should be in here, and this place is licensed for 99 children, and this is the outside. There's no windows, no nothing. And like I said, they literally spelled the word wrong on their sign. This is open and blatant fraud taking place here inside of Minnesota. The government is complicit with this, and this is just one of the hundreds of child daycare centers here inside of Minneapolis being ran by the Somali population. It's sad that it's happening here in Minnesota, and it stinks that it's happening and it's being labeled on the Somali population. However, that's just the facts of what's happening here inside of Minnesota. $1.9 million for this daycare center that can't even spell learning right. Here in Minnesota, massive.
Okay, so that's the essence of what he put out. He had a video yesterday that went out. It's got 150 million views.
Damn.
That is more than all of the news networks combined. So it is reaching people. Hopefully, most of them are Americans. But anybody who depends on the news media is not going to see this incredible scandal, because CNN, CBS, NBC, ABC, NPR, not one of them has covered 1 second of this. And there's this video that it just goes on and on and on. This is not, as they're claiming, oh, well, there just weren't any children there because it wasn't a school day kind of a thing. This is massive, outright fraud. Your tax dollars for decades have been going to this. This is all being run. These are all money laundering operations by the Democrats through the Somalis, immigrants that they brought in return for campaign contributions and money in their private bank accounts. This is the biggest political corruption scandal probably ever in the history of the country, Brooks.
And it's worse than that. If you Google Somali fraud, you get nothing.
Yeah.
They don't list any of this. They don't even recognize that it's occurred. That's how much mainstream media, what they call the mainstream media, is now isolated and separated from the real mainstream news, which is us. Independent journalists, small podcasters, we are now the mainstream. We're the ones the public is going to for their truth and their reporting. Google has lost their minds.
Yeah, that's rather incredible. So I mean, I've had people say they talk to their parents who are old. They didn't even know about this, but I guess Blake, that's why Brian calls it the new American media. We have to be the media because the media won't be the media. They won't cover the stories. Will this go anywhere? Will this get any penetration? And will people go to jail for this?
I think this finally broke the dam. I certainly hope. Yeah, it's like they're under occupation there because I talk to people from back home and sometimes they get mad. They don't even believe this. It's like they're like East Germany or something. They're behind enemy lines. They're being fed propaganda. They think it's all BS because they don't cover it. So they don't realize the scope of it. Although they have been covering it a little bit since 2018, they're just allowing the fraud to take place because with Walz and Keith Ellison, radical commie that he is the attorney general, is not doing anything about it. They know exactly. They're all in on it. And so it's a huge racket. It's finally broken. So hopefully they'll do something. And I mean it gets even worse because there were people trying to blow the whistle and trying to do something all these years, and they get threatened or they don't cover it. So NPR, it's Minnesota Public Radio, and then the Star Tribune, they insulate everybody. They just barely tell you, oh, something's got to be done about the fraud, but then nobody actually does anything.
Yeah, the Red
Star.
Star.
Go in there and rate it.
The Red Star kind of went out of business this week, right? It's not going to publish.
I think they just stopped printing. They stopped printing in Minnesota, and I think they're going to go mostly to digital only. I wish they would just shut down the Trib because they basically dereliction of journalistic duty to protect the public.
Right.
People think it's
and when you go to online only, you cease to exist. You cease to have any real function.
And it's so funny. Illegal Omar made a public statement yesterday. She said Minnesota is should be grateful for all the money that all the federal money Somalians have brought into the state of Minnesota.
It's our money that they stole.
No shit.
Yeah.
but that's why nobody in Minnesota is throwing up a red flag because they're all on the take.
Yeah.
All the politicians in Minnesota are on the take.
So USA aid has been effectively shut down. It's been dismantled to a great extent. That's going to save us tons and tons of money. Now they found this other massive fraud. And let's go to your question, Brooks. How much of that $36 trillion is actually gone to money laundering and fraud for the Democrat Party?
According to Scott Bessent, about 70% of that debt is due to fraud.
And remind people who Scott Bessent is.
Scott Bessent is the Treasury Secretary. And by the way, in the last, I think, 3 days, Kristi Noem has moved a lot of forces into Minnesota. She's doing what Pam Bondi won't do.
Yeah, and maybe she needs to just do that. And Pam Bondi just needs to go. Donald Trump, to his credit, has taken out a little bit after Pam Bondi the last couple of days. But how do you get in a position where you have an attorney general who won't do your bidding? Literally, the attorney general works for the president. Literally. People are like, oh, no, she's supposed to work for the American people. Bullshit. That's the White House counsel's job. That is not the attorney general's job. The attorney general works for the president. The president needs to fire them all, appoint somebody new. I don't know why. I mean, nobody has been arrested in any of this corruption. Steve, do you see that changing in 2026 at all?
Well, only if Bondi is replaced, only if Kash Patel is replaced by, hard chargers who are willing to go out there and do the work, not assign criminal cases to first-year USAAs who drop the ball and don't do it correctly. Let's face it, Pam Bondi knew exactly what she was doing to get all of those Democrats, Comey, the New York Attorney General, off the hook. She just decided somebody who wasn't qualified to do the job. So she's done nothing but run interference for the Democrats and the criminals. And again, she works for President Trump. You're 100% correct. And he should have kicked her to the curb within a month or two of her appointment, because she showed her true colors, that she's pay to play and that she's pro-Democrat. And he should have said, get out then, or appointed somebody as the assistant, kicked her out, and that person would have been acting until they could get them approved, and let that person run wild prosecuting all these people.
Yeah,
This is not the first time President Trump has done this. You remember how long did he stick with Jeff Sessions? And he fucking recused himself. Wouldn't even discuss the case.
Yeah, from the Russiagate thing. And again, this has been the biggest problem we've had now for 5 years of the Trump administration is the Attorney General.
And look at his chief of staff. She needs to go. She's a Democrat.
Right, exactly. Susie Wiles needs to go. She's
out of there.
She's Victoria Nuland with Crocs on. She's horrible. And
but I have a comment on the Somalis, which you never let me talk.
Go ahead.
First of all, the three of you are racist. You're all racist for talking bad about Somalis. Second is we know that the Somalis did not orchestrate all of that fraud. They had help, and they had people who set all of these things up, got the money in, got their cut, and paid the Somalis basically to keep their mouths shut.
Yeah. One of my Twitter ladies, I forget her name, M2, I think it is, on Twitter. She's pretty good. She pointed that out. These people are retards. They're like inbred retards. There's no way they came up with this scheme on their own. The Democrats came up with it. It was their idea. Who's responsible? And again, but with that, and again, what are you going to do? Appoint a special prosecutor and take 5 years like Durham to investigate it, and then come up with nothing and not charge anybody? I mean,
you know what?
The military or the asteroid.
That kid gave them all the evidence they needed.
Well, the SBA did shut off all the money to Minnesota. So their whole SBA program has been shut off. It's about $750 million.
Right. Now, meantime, retarded Governor Tim Walz is tried to play the victim in this whole thing. He said Donald Trump called him a retard, and now people drive past his house and yell retard out the window. Santa flew past his house and yelled retard out the window and dropped a lump of coal down his chimney. But let's not forget who Tim Walz is. And this is the part that is so chilling, is we're talking about what we think is normal run-of-the-mill criminal corruption. Another way to traffic children is through daycare centers. So don't forget that aspect of this. Yep. And let's not forget who Tim Walz is. There was a guy who was caught and convicted. He murdered a member of the House, I believe the House of Representatives in Minnesota. He murdered her last year. He was the only Democrat who voted to investigate the fraud in the Somali daycare centers, and he murdered her. And don't forget that he put out this letter, which was released today, and I'll just go through it very briefly. It says in the highlights, Tim Walz wanted me to kill Amy Klobuchar. He was an appointee of Tim Walz. He knew Tim Walz. Tim Walz was a friend of his. And it said Tim Walz wants to be a senator. So Walz apparently appointed this guy and then hired him, believe it or not, to murder U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar, Democrat, not one of my favorite people, one of the architects of the Ukraine war, so that he could appoint himself senator.
Wow.
Where is the U.S. federal government on this? Where is the military on this? Isn't it, guys? I'm almost ready for it. Steve, you keep saying I don't want the U.S. military in the streets of my town. You're right. I want it in the streets of Minneapolis. I sure as fuck want it there.
You know what? We have more than enough federal agents to take care of it. You know, using the United States military goes against the Constitution. You don't want it. I guarantee you, if they start doing that, we get somebody else in power. They're going to misuse it, and they're going to come after you. So you do not want that to happen. There are plenty of federal agents. All they got to do is reassign them from states where nothing's going on, get them there, get them working, get them off their asses. It's an easy thing to do. I've been there. I've done it. Like I said, put me in charge, give me 150 men. I'll clean out Minneapolis in 6 months. So it's not that difficult. Everybody makes it sound like it's more difficult than what it is. It's not. And to bring up another point, which really irritates me when you bring up this child sex trafficking thing, all these news reports we heard about 30,000 children were rescued. Where's the prosecutions on that? Who's been identified as a suspect on that? Where did all these kids go to? Where are they at now? I mean, you know, we hear all these reports, but we don't see any follow-up.
I'm going to take issue with you on something. You say that the president cannot put the military on the ground in the United States. That is not
the Supreme Court.
That is not true. That is no longer true because the Supreme Court just ruled last week in a very interesting ruling, and I'm going to go through it for you, and we're going to argue it. But they went through, they did a very, very interesting thing. They ruled
6-3.
Trump versus Illinois, they ruled 6-3 that the president cannot send the National Guard into Chicago. But they said he can send in the U.S. military if he invokes a statute. At this preliminary stage, the government has failed to identify a source of authority that would allow the military to execute the laws in Illinois. The president has not invoked a statute that provides an exception to the Posse Comitatus Act. One apparent ramification of the court's opinion, this is their own opinion, is that it could cause the president to use the U.S. military more than the National Guard to protect federal personnel and property in the United States. That, Steve, is a green light because what the Supreme Court admitted
is not.
Trump has the authority to invoke the Insurrection Act.
It is not a green light.
Wait a minute. To bypass
shit. You don't know what you're talking about, dude. First of all, what they're saying there is just like during World War I, World War II, Vietnam, they used military troops to protect federal installations and protect them. They did not use them as cops on the street to arrest civilian personnel. They've never done that, and they never should do that. And if they start doing it, you're going to get what you fucking deserve, and you're going to get shot in the streets by fucking military personnel, and you're going to get overrun, and your house is going to be taken, and everything's going to be taken away from you. There's a reason that the Constitution forbids military troops from enforcing laws against the civilians of this country.
Okay, first of
if
all,
you're for it, I'm totally against everything you believe in.
The Posse Comitatus Act is not in the Constitution. It is not in the Constitution. It is a separate federal law. Secondly, the Insurrection Act gives the president the right to use the U.S. military on American soil, and that ruling just said, guess what? If you invoke the Insurrection Act, you can send American troops into cities.
Good. If you want that kind of action, you're going to pay for it. Guaranteed, dude. You are going to pay for it, and you are going to suffer you're going to see military dictators. You're going to see American citizens who are protesting getting shot down in the street.
What have we been through? What have we been through the last 4 years?
That's why we don't do it. That's why we don't do it.
A president who tried to force us to take a medication against all the Nuremberg laws, which wasn't even the medication. It was a poison designed to kill us. He tried to force us to do that. What have we been living under for the last 4 years? Brooks.
And did I take it? No.
State of emergency.
Did you take it? No.
Maybe we lost Brooks.
I had to move out of California to avoid it.
Blake.
People who took it wanted to take it because otherwise they wouldn't have done it.
Blake, Steve's at one end, I'm at the other. Where are you in all this while we wait for Brooks to pop back in?
Man, I guess it's somewhere in the middle, man. I want something to be done. I can't trust the FBI. I can't trust the feds. I don't know what. I wouldn't trust Biden's military. I want to believe that maybe Trump could use it for good. But I mean, yeah, they should absolutely go in and raid the governor's mansion in Minnesota and haul Waltz away.
What happens if Kamala gets in 4 years and she does the same thing?
Yeah, I know.
What happens if that happens? What happens if somebody worse than Kamala gets in?
Well,
I agree.
And they do even worse. What happens then?
What do we do?
But it was okay under Trump. It's just like when they passed under what's his face, Bush, and they took away everybody's rights so that they could use it to fight terrorism. And what did they do? They turned it on Americans. That's what they always do. And the next administration that gets in, you get an evil administration in, you're going to see people getting mowed down in the streets. You're going to, just like Tiananmen Square, you're going to see tanks rolling through cities in the United States. And if you want to see that, you're not an American and you're not a patriot.
But let me ask you this before we go to Brooks real quick. Thanks, Brooks. Go ahead, Brooks. Go ahead.
Well, it has been done twice. Military has been used. Once was the internment of Japanese citizens during World War II. That's when the Insurrection Act was invoked. Military went in, rounded up the Japanese citizens, and put them in internment during the period of the war. The second was Eisenhower. He actually used the military twice. Once was in Washington, D.C. against the Bond riots, where World War I veterans wanted to get paid on their bonds that they had bought during the war. He sent Patton and Westmoreland against them and arrested them and actually beat up several. And they had bayonets fixed when they marched on them. And the other was when Eisenhower removed the illegals from our country. He did it twice, and he used military and military aircraft and military vehicles.
And you're forgetting one when
Lincoln
MacArthur killed all of the Civil War veterans who were due a pension that weren't paid the pension, so they sent him in, and he killed hundreds of them with military troops. I mean, I don't know about you. Doesn't sound like justice to me.
Oh, but
it doesn't.
The Republic did survive all of those incidents. To go back to some semblance of democracy, I do believe certain people that were elected lawfully. If the military is brought in, Steve, let me just throw a hypothetical. If the military is brought in to ensure election integrity, paper ballots, hand counted, one vote, one person, you must prove you are a citizen to vote, then how does your nightmare scenario ever come true?
All right, first of all,
Kamala Harris and the Democrats are not 20%. They don't.
You are comparing apples to oranges. Do I care that U.S. military aircraft is used to deport illegal aliens? No. Do I care that U.S. military vehicles are used to transport them to the airport to get rid of them? No. Do I care that they put military people in the different voting districts and they sit there and they make sure that everything goes as it should and nobody's cheating and nothing's coming in? No. What I'm talking about and what you have discussed is having military people enforce civilian law against civilians. That's a big, big, big difference.
Okay, so let's go around the horn.
That's true.
Let's go around the horn and ask this question. I personally believe that every immigrant from a third world country or that identifies as Muslim in some way, since 2001, since 9/11, should be hunted down like a dog, have their citizenship stripped from them if they do have it, and be deported back to their country of origin. And I'm all in favor of using the military to do that. And I think the operation should be done in 6 months. That's 25, 30 million, maybe illegal and even legal immigrants. It should all be stripped. And we should say there is now a 25-year moratorium on any immigration from any third world or Muslim country. The only ones that get in from any of those countries are practicing Christians. That's what I would do. And you can call me Hitler, you can call me a fascist, but that's what I would do if I was the president, because I would invoke the Insurrection Act to do it. Am I wrong for wanting to do that? Steve Doran, and then Brooks, and then Blake.
Okay. Like I said, I do not want U.S. troops enforcing civilian laws. Don't want it. Don't want to see it. They can be used to assist. They can be used, their vehicles, their planes. They can be used for transport. They can be used they can set up, POW camps, for lack of a better term, guard these people, take care of them until they can get them on a plane and get them out of here. They don't need to be running the streets and interfering with civilian law enforcement. That's why we have a constitution. I don't buy into using them on American soil other than unless we are attacked by a foreign nation.
Okay, Brooks, what are your thoughts about my idea? Let's just go into a little benevolent fascism for 6 months. Get all these invaders out, and
but again, what's to keep the next president, who may be evil, from doing that against you? Because they don't like what you're saying. They don't like what you're doing.
Election reform, and because the American people, I believe, would support that by about 90%. But that's just my belief. Brooks.
Well, I think we already have been attacked. Islam is very quietly building mosques all over this country. They are training people to go to those mosques to kill infidels, which, by the way, is us. I know people that live in Dearborn, and they fear for their lives. They fear for their lives. They go to work, they go home, and they don't go anywhere because the entire place is run by Muslims. All the movie theaters, all the hotels, all the restaurants, all the gas stations, they're all run by Muslims, and they're afraid. And we should not be in that state in this country. And they are getting more and more brazen and more Sharia violent in our country every single day. So I'm with Steve. Use the equipment, use the manpower to back up law enforcement, and let's use them as a logistical powerhouse, and let's get these people out of our country. Poland did it.
Let's give American citizens the right to blow these jackasses away when they rear their ugly head. That's why we have the Second Amendment, to defend ourselves from the Muslims and people like them who would harm American citizens. It's up to the Americans to take up arms and go after them.
Blake, do you like my idea, or am I beginning to sound a lot like Hitler? Mike's beginning to sound a lot like Hitler every single day. Okay, what do you think? Oh God, people are gonna use that clip against me for the rest of my life. But go ahead.
No worries, all in good fun. It's the holidays, but as part of being an American, it's a freedom of religion thing. But these people, if they're not assimilating into our culture, then they gotta go.
They're here to destroy it. Yeah,
they should be fairly easy to vet some of these people. I think they should really deport a lot of these. No offense to the Somalians. We've tried to be hospitable. I know as Minnesota, even like 20 years ago, the last time I was there, I worked at the Mall of America for just a couple of months. But I mean, I was there during Ramadan. And it was like a big deal because like the whole place is full of Somalis. And now it's like you can't even go to the Mall of America because it's like Somali gang members. That's all they do is they hang around there all day.
I used to go there all the time when I lived there. I lived 2 miles from it, 1.5 miles from there.
Yeah. No, it's
when you were in Minnesota, Mike, they had Somalians there already.
Yeah, it's back in the early 90s or something.
97, 98, 99, 2000.
Yeah, it's supposed to be refugees. We're hospitable. We take them in, and then we should Americanize them a little bit, and then send them back. And now I think the Democrats found like, hey, we can exploit this and use it to our advantage. And all those people, they have to go. I mean, I encourage them to reapply. But I mean, if they're just low IQ welfare whores and they're not contributing anything to the country and they don't care about us and they just think they're going to have their little Mogadishu and and just vote Democrats and change the it cannot be tolerated anymore. So we have
81%.
They've already sent billions back to their own country. Go fix your own country. You've already got the money there.
Yeah.
Waiting for you.
Yeah, we taught you how to be an American.
81% of Somalis are on welfare. And Steve's exactly right. They have sent so much money back to Somalia, it literally doubled the gross domestic product.
Yeah.
They went from 8 billion to 16 billion.
Wow. Okay, and before I go any further, happy birthday to Christine Packer. I forgot to say that earlier. Happy birthday, Christine.
Happy birthday, Christine.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
There is one more.
Blake will sing happy birthday to you before the end of the show.
Happy birthday. All right, there's one more issue that I do want to bring up. That from a couple weeks ago that we didn't really get to, which is that a whole bunch of the redacted Epstein files were released, and guess what? Who's all over them? I'll tell you who's all over them. The guy who went to the White House 17 times with Bill Clinton. Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Clinton hung out at the White House 17 different times. Ghislaine Maxwell went to Bill Clinton's daughter's wedding. Well, actually, Webb Hubbell's daughter's wedding. Here's Bill Clinton with Virginia Giuffre. They say Shantae Davis. I believe that's Virginia, not Shantae Davis. She's 17 years old. There's pictures of him with Rachel Chandler on board the Lolita Express. And there's the 28 times that he was seen. Yeah, here he is. Here's the thing. Donald Trump appears in flight logs prior to 1996, I believe. All prior to 1996. They were small private jets. It was not the 727, the Lolita Express. That's this plane. There's Ghislaine Maxwell. Notice where her right hand is. She's rubbing Bill Clinton's dick. This is Bill Clinton on that plane where all kinds of rapes took place, statutory rapes. Here's Bill Clinton with, a bunch of people hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein. So Bill Clinton is all over it. Here's Bill again with another young victim. Might be the same girl. I'm not sure. A lot of them have this picture redacted, but apparently it's been out in public. And this is the same picture. Notice what's the same. Notice Bill Clinton's blue shirt and dark jacket. And then notice Bill Clinton's blue shirt and a dark jacket in this picture with Jeffrey Epstein. So if you don't think that's Epstein's plane, you're full of shit. There's pictures of him with Mick Jagger. There's pictures of him in the pool with a girl who's redacted. There they are again in the pool. And, this people say, well, this is not the pool on Epstein Island. It's a pool at some private hotel in Dubai. But the reality is Bill Clinton is all over this stuff. And let me go back and look at one more thing here. Another Destiny Rendez pulled up the so-called unredacted files. And the claim was they redacted all this stuff to protect the identities of the victims. But instead, what she found in some of the documents that she was able to get the uncovered versions of, they're actually known public individuals. Somebody named Indike signed a foundation account, checks for over $400,000 made payable to young female models and actresses, including a former Russian model who received over $380,000 through monthly payments of $8,333. Signed in 2017 a foundation check made payable to an immigration lawyer who was involved in one or more forced marriages arranged among Epstein's victims to secure victims' immigration status. Yada, yada, yada. So it appears what they're actually covering up in these court documents is not the victims' names, which is what Pam Blondie and others have claimed. They're actually covering up for the people. And I don't know who this Indike is.
I have a question.
He's probably associated with some politicians or power players, bankers. They're covering up. They're covering up the perpetrators, not the victims. Right. That's who they're covering up for.
So I have a question. There's supposedly some girl, some computer genius. Again, it could just be internet BS, but who was able to unredact almost every document that came out.
Yeah.
Is that true or false?
No, that's
Brooks?
true. She highlighted the redacted part and then pasted it into another program, and it printed out everything.
Yeah.
Well,
And
but
so what happened? So where are all those documents, or is she dead?
what does it say? I mean, is that this person? Is that this girl? This Destiny Rendez?
I'm not sure. I just heard that she unredacted everything. She was able to get AI or somebody to unredact everything. And then I thought, well, she'll be dead in about a week and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I've taken documents that had white text. You can't see it. You don't even know it's there. But you highlight the document and it'll highlight the white text. And you can print it in Word and change the color of the text to black, and you can read everything.
wow, let's do that to the Roswell, the Ramey memo that General Ramey was holding that talked about the bodies and the aliens and all that stuff.
Well, I discovered it by accident because I have spell check on my computer. And what was showing up in the white area of the document were these red lines saying there are misspelled words there. But there were no words. So I highlighted it and I pasted it in Word and changed the color of the text to black. Boom. Everything was there.
Interesting. Blake, they appear to be covering up for the perpetrators, not the victims. What does this say to you? And what do you think? What did you think about this? I mean, you know, now the Democrats are saying, well, Trump's really in there. He's got to be in there. Otherwise, why would he cover it up? And I think he keeps doing this piecemeal to get the Democrats to demand that the next set be released. And every time it's going to be released, I think it's going to be worse for the Democrats. That's the game I think Trump is playing. What do you think, Blake?
I hope that's the game he's playing. It certainly could be that. It's the 4D chess type of move, and they did fall into that trap, I guess, because he really wasn't in there. It was mostly Clinton. But, I mean, he did say it was just all a hoax, or are people still talking about that? Maybe that was just to bait everybody in. But, yeah, they fumbled that thing from the beginning, and with Bondi, and then all the fake footage from the prison and all of that. So, I mean, the people, they don't work for us. They don't work for we the people. They work for their, the donor class and the elites. So yeah, that's what they're in the business of covering it up. And I guess due to an oversight or a mistake, they were able to, get over the redactions and reveal what was actually said. And again, to reveal that who they did not want to get incriminated in this. But hopefully there's more to come, because we only got a little taste of it. We were supposed to get this big dump, and we've been waiting for it for months. And we finally got just a little bit, just to appease the masses for a little bit longer while they continue to run out the clock.
Brooks, the president said they just found 1 million more pages of Epstein documents. Do you believe that? And what do you think is in those?
Well, I mean, eventually what we're going to do is we're going to get to not just documents with words on them. We're going to get files with pictures on them, short video files. These are the things that Epstein prided himself in collecting. That's what he was paid. That's what he was designed to collect. He's a blackmail factory. So what he does is hosts all these important people, senators, governors, generals, diplomats, and then films them in compromising positions. And if he can't get them in a compromising position, he just waits till they pass out. And then he sends a half dozen nubiles in there naked to pose on the bed, and they take some pictures that way. So these are the documents that they're withholding.
Okay, so the video stuff that's going to convict people. Steve, do you hold out any hope that we're going to get to the bottom of this anytime soon? And why do you think Trump doesn't want to go forward with this? Is he just protecting his own donors, or what's the deal?
Well, I think he's protecting, his elite, because if anybody, if he was completely honest, first of all, I don't believe they just found 1 million more documents. They knew they were there, and they knew what they had. He knew what they had. And so, there's probably some friends of his on the list that he doesn't want to destroy or that he owes favors to or whatever and so he doesn't want them released. I mean, it's ridiculous. We've been playing this game for a whole year, and we've already discovered that they're redacting criminals, not victims. And now we're saying, oh, we just found 1 million. Oh, we tripped over a box and it had 1 million more documents. They knew it was there. It should have been released with the rest of them. They've had more than enough time to redact the victims' names only. Everything else should have remained open to the public, and it's not.
Mhm.
So, it's more governmental elite shenanigans. I mean, let's face it. I mean, Trump is an elite. He's a multi-billionaire, has been. I mean, the people he rubs elbows with and who are friends of his are elite. I mean, he's not friends with people like you and me.
Yeah. The Democrats have gone through these pictures, and they're so desperate to call Trump a pedo. They've even this is one, the righties will call this picture a fake. They're trying to say, oh, look at Trump with this little girl. That's his daughter, Tiffany, guys. That's his daughter, Tiffany, in about early 2000s. I mean, the Democrats are insane. It's just absolutely crazy. Yeah, and Hunter's laptop, supposedly they're going to open that up. The Democrats will really stoop to anything. All right, we're going to go and let Brooks get some sleep, unless he's frozen again. Brooks frozen again?
He's frozen.
I believe he's frozen. So anybody have any final thoughts, a happy new year wishes, or do we have any predictions? For 2026? Blake, any predictions for 2026?
I mean, it's got to be the year of enforcing justice and doing something and going after the Democrats like they went after him for all of the I already forgot the term already, for the lawfare. So if he doesn't expose all this, you got it opened in Minnesota, and if it's got to expand into Ohio and California, and people will get a scope of that and realize why the Democrats were freaking out about Elon and the Doge thing.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't do that, then I guess hope is lost, because the Democrats will get back into power, obstruct everything, and then take over, and they're going to go after us, finish the job they couldn't finish when Biden fell apart with his dementia towards the end and couldn't get reelected, and they couldn't get Trump out of the way. So yeah, we're in for a tough year. Conceivably, unless they do something.
I also want to say a special thank you to Roel Garza, who sent me a very nice Christmas gift. Roel, thank you. I don't know what platform you follow me on, but thanks for that. It was a really welcome gift. Steve Doran, any predictions for 2026, or do you think we're going to be right back here a year from now talking about why didn't Trump go after him when he had the chance?
Well, again, I would love to be optimistic, but we have to look at the facts as they are. And so far, nothing's been done unless we see Bondi replaced, unless we see Patel replaced, and put in some hard chargers in office that are going to do the job. I don't see too much changing, but I would like to say that, all of you people that go out for New Year's Eve, big cities, downtown, be very, very careful. I would even advise don't go.
Yeah, and I would advise that too. And Jen, Jen on the Gentel show, she got some sort of. She said, "I see some sort of sniper incident." It looks like,
it's not. I mean, they've already attacked people. They've attacked churches on Christmas, which again, the national news doesn't tell you about. Don't be surprised if some of the New Year's celebrations in downtown big cities aren't disrupted by some type of terrorist attack.
Yep. And
hopefully it's not, they don't try to set up an American and say, oh, so-and-so, it was domestic terrorism. It was Mike Bara went nuts in Las Vegas or whatever, whatever story they try to tell to get Americans to turn against people who rightfully are carrying under the Second Amendment.
Yep. Happy birthday, Christine, and thank you. for that. Brooks, any predictions for 2026 as we end 2025?
I see great things for 2026. I think economically, the country is going to explode. You think 4.3% growth is good? Wait until next year. It's going to be amazing, absolutely amazing. But I'm also cautious, just like Steve is. I would avoid any large gatherings. I would have my head on a swivel at all times. If you have a firearm, make sure you get to the range and practice with it. The worst thing in the world you want to have happen is get in a situation where you have to use your firearm and you forgot how. You need to get to the range and practice.
Yep, that is absolutely true. And I haven't been in a while. I need to go. Steve shoots all the time. But all right, and I'm going to say
we are very good at shooting people in the face, so I have no problem.
I am going to say I think we're going to have a big boom economic year. I think that's going to be important. I know what I want to happen in 2026. I don't know what's going to happen. Although I do, and again, if they did this revaluation thing, Brooks, they've been talking about for 15 years, America will be even in a bigger boom situation. But things are progressing glacially on that front. I think a year from now, we have peace overseas. We have peace in Ukraine. The Iranian government is gone. The Venezuelan government is gone. And we're starting to turn the corner towards the golden age that Trump is always talking about. And I will also say this. I believe when they complete the new White House ballroom, it will house the Ark of the Covenant.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm with you on that.
And I would like to remind you, I am not saying it will house a replica of the Ark of the Covenant. I'm saying it's going to house the Ark of the Covenant.
Wow.
How weird is that?
That thing is dangerous.
That is weird. That is like really weird.
I'll explain it to you after the show. Thank you, everybody, for being here. If I do a RV update show tomorrow, it will be late because I'm getting a haircut at the normal time to get ready for my close-up the day after New Year's. And I'm not going to tell you what that is. You'll see it when it happens. It's going to be fun and exciting stuff. Everybody have a wonderful, happy New Year.
The question is, will everybody be able to see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Stay toxic, stay masculine. Steve, what the hell was that? And peace out.
No.
To 2025. Thanks. Bye.